Hello, my dear students. How are you today? Now we are going to learn about perpendicular lines. So, what is the meaning of perpendicular? Let's talk about that first. There will be two lines. So, let's have two lines here. There will be two lines, but they won't be parallel to each other. Those are kind of parallel lines. Perpendicular line means there will be two lines. Those two lines will intersect with each other, so there are not going to be parallel lines, intersect with each other, but not with any angle. They intersect with each other with 90 degree. When two lines intersect each other with 90 degrees, the line is called perpendicular line. So, what makes two lines perpendicular? Let's go to my graph calculator and let's just write down. We need to have fraction. Remember, the slope needs to be fraction. So I'm gonna write it down as let's say 3 over 2. That's x plus 5. So look at the blue line here. It's a just line going from left to right. And now let's make a perpendicular line. I want to make a perpendicular line. That means first of all you need to have the opposite sign. So here I am going to do another line. Let's say minus 3 over 2 x plus, let's say, 7. And let's bring this here a little bit. As you can see, the lines don't intersect each other with 90 degree. The lines are kind of like what I was telling you. They are not intersecting each other with, the angle here is less than the angle there. We are looking for perpendicular line where the lines intersect each other with perfect 90 degree. So let's go back to the graph. So having opposite sign helped me in some ways, but it was not good enough. So what you need to do here is that you need to flip the slope. That's the important part. Flip the slope. What's blue line? What's the slope here? Blue line, the slope has 3 over 2. If you flip it, 3 goes down, 2 goes up, plus you have the negative sign. That's it. That's what makes two line perpendicular. Let's go back to the graph and let's change 3 over 2 into 2 over 3. And now look at these two lines. It's perfect lines, intersect each other with 90 degrees. Now I am looking at two perpendicular lines. Once again, in order to have perpendicular line, so I'm about to create perpendicular line to this equation here. So 6 goes up, division, 7 goes down, and you must have the opposite. I have no sign here, meaning plus. So the opposite sign will be negative. I'm going to have negative number here. Have the x there. The rest, just like the parallel lines, is not important. You can say plus 4, plus or minus something. As long as you don't have the same number, it will be okay. So now let's quickly do some examples. 4 over 5, that's the slope. And are the two lines perpendicular? So I see 4 being denominator, 5 being the numerator, and I have positive number here, I have negative number that, yes, two lines are perpendicular. 8 is down here, 3 is up there, it's positive, it's negative, perfect. Both lines are perpendicular. And what's going on here? I need a fraction. Remember, you need a fraction for your slope. And the slope is 2. And I don't like it. I want to make it a fraction. So how I can make fraction? By dividing by 1. So that's not going to change the value of 2. It's still 2. But when I do that, now look at that. 1 goes up, 2 goes down, and there is no sign here, meaning if I have the negative sign here, this is perfect perpendicular lines. Next, division by 1. Now 1 is up here, 7 is down there, and I have the negative sign here, so I don't have any sign here. That means the lines are perpendicular. Keep listening, please. I'm going to do different examples very soon. So over here, I need fraction. Once again, I need fraction. In front of x, there is no number, meaning it's 1. But I need a fraction, so we're going to make it 1 over 1. If I want to make a perpendicular line, that one going to go up, this one going to go down, and I'm going to have the opposite sign. And this is exactly what I have here, right? There is no number, means it's 1. So actually, these two lines are perpendicular. Over here, now I am looking at a decimal number. But I need fractions. So the 1 is up. 7.5 is done as denominator. And there is no sign here, meaning my answer should have the negative sign. So yes, those two lines are perpendicular. How about here? Same thing. 0.11 is done here, and there is no number here, meaning we have 1, and that 1 is up there, and the opposite sign, no sign, yes, perpendicular lines. So looking at here, please watch this example carefully. Now looking at here, first of all, I see two different numbers here, two different fractions here. So it seems to me they are not perpendicular. But let's assume I want to make a perpendicular line to that. How should I do it? 3 will go up, 2 will go down, and I want to make sure I have the opposite sign. So that slope will give me the perpendicular line. But looking at here, I have something different. I just want to make sure if they are the same number or different number. So pay attention to that. What is minus 9 over 6? Minus 9 over 6 is 1.5. How about minus 3 over 2? Minus, oops, let's clear this first. Minus 3 over 2. That is also minus 1.5. In other words, these are similar fractions. In other words, these are exactly the same numbers. Meaning, these two, actually, they are perpendicular lines. Let's go over here. Now, let's take a look at this one. So if I want to create a perpendicular line to that equation, 4 goes up, 2 goes down, and I want to make sure it has the negative sign. And what is 4 over minus 4 over 2? Do the division. You're going to have minus 2. So minus 2 is what I see here. Yes, both lines are perpendicular lines. And let's have a look at this example. If I want to create a perpendicular line to that, 5 will go down, 5 will go up, 1 will go down. I'm going to have the negative sign. What is minus 5 divided by 1? That is minus 5. And that's the number I see here, meaning two lines are perpendicular lines. This is very, very weird example. But let's do it exactly the same way we did. If I want to create perpendicular line to that, minus 0.25 will go up, minus, 0.05 0.05, and the sign will be, we have the negative sign, positive. So I'm gonna have that, but I have 5 here. So let's calculate. What is 0.25 divided by 0.05? That will give me 5, meaning these two lines, actually, they are perpendicular. Now, we talk enough about what makes two lines perpendicular. Let's talk about what makes two lines not perpendicular. Not perpendicular. By now, you know of parallel lines. If the two lines are parallel, that means they are not perpendicular. But we have different examples here. So, looking at here, I know they are not perpendicular. Why? Because this is supposed to be 1 here. So if I want to create a perpendicular line to that, 1 goes up, 5 goes down, the opposite sign is minus. So I'm going to have a decimal number here, which is 0 minus 0.2. So do I see minus 0.2 here? There is nothing to calculate it. It's not fraction. It's just minus 3. The slopes are different in this case. When they are different, of course, I can call them that they are not perpendicular lines. How about this one? This one has no number here, meaning 1. So you can write down as division 1. It's not going to give you the same number. 1 goes up, 1 goes down, opposite sign. You're going to end up with 1 anyway. You can ignore it. No, you are not going to have 3. So both lines are not perpendicular lines. How about here? I see the same number here. Come on, this is parallel lines. I don't even have to calculate it. Parallel lines. They are not perpendicular. Next, I have this weird number. Look, divided by 1. So you want to call this actually perpendicular line, but 1 goes up and 2.13 goes down. And remember the other rule, which is the opposite sign. There is no sign here, meaning you're going to have the negative sign here. Do I see this number there? Of course not. Very close, very much the same almost, but different. I don't see the same. So the two lines are not perpendicular line. So I'm going to cross it. Next example we have here is, let's see. These are almost the same. Almost the same. So it's not flipped upside down. There is a negative sign though, but it's not flipped. I wish we had 9/2 here. Then I can say they are perpendicular line, but they are not perpendicular lines. And next example we have here is that you see now 9 goes up, 2 goes down. Yes, I can call this perpendicular line, right? But look at the signs. Signs are exactly the same. When signs are exactly the same, they cannot be called as perpendicular line. So these two are not perpendicular lines. How about the next example? What I have here, let's put I want to create the perpendicular line to that. So 2 goes down and 3 goes up, and I want to make sure there is the opposite sign. So it's going to be negative 3/2. So I have a different fraction here. It has a negative sign. Possibly these two lines might be perpendicular line, but let's calculate. I forgot the negative sign. I don't need it, but let's include it anyway. Minus 3/2 is minus 1.5. Again, this is minus 1.5. So let's calculate that. If I am going to get exactly the same number, I can call both lines being perpendicular. So clear that. Minus 9/4. Am I getting the same number? No, I am getting a different number, which is minus 2.25. So they are different. Yes, they are not perpendicular lines. How about this one? I don't even have to calculate it. They both have exactly the same sign, so they are not going to be perpendicular line. How to create perpendicular line? Kind of we touched on this at the beginning of the video. Let's just do it very quickly. We have fraction here. That's good. Y equals, make the division line. 5 goes up, 2 goes down. You need the opposite sign. We have the negative here, so I'm going to keep it as positive. X. Now I'm going to write down whatever number I feel like. Plus 4. Let's create perpendicular line. 10 y equals 10 goes up, 3 goes down. Opposite sign, I'm going to give negative here. X minus 3. All right. How about here? I don't see fraction here. Let's assume we have fraction as the slope. So y would be 1 goes up, 3 goes down. Opposite sign is positive. X and minus plus 4. I can write that on the same. It's not going to affect it. Do I have another example? All right, so again, there is no fraction. Let's make it fraction. Y equals 1 over 5x minus 3. It will work. Over here, I don't have any numbers. So that means in front of x, we have 1. And I need fraction. So I'm going to add 1 as the denominator. So y equals 1 goes up, the other one goes down, opposite sign, x plus 3, let's say. But I'm not going to leave my equation like that because minus 1 divided by 1 will give me negative 1. X plus 3. But 1, you don't have to write down in front of x. We can ignore it. So therefore, my answer would be just negative x plus 3. So that's the perpendicular line to that. All right, let's go ahead and do some practice.